Welcome back to, we've got a new title, hashtag franchising stronger together. We're getting rid of that COVID-19 ugliness. Welcome to hashtag franchising stronger together. I'm your host, Red Boswell, president of IFPG, and we're joined today by another true leader in franchising, the legend himself, Mr. Gary Findley. Gary's the CEO of Restoration One and Blue Frog Plumbing, and he's got a whole bunch of other stuff we're going to talk about as well. Gary, welcome to the call today.
Hey, thanks, Red. I appreciate that. I don't know, legend, maybe a legend in my own mind. I don't think I'm necessarily a legend, though.
Yeah, somebody called me legend once. I said, "Don't you have to be dead to be a legend?"
Right, exactly. I don't know if that's a good thing.
you know, I'll take infamous. Um,
Yeah,
so, brother, you're in just a couple hours from me in Waco. How's you and the family?
we're doing well. We're doing well. Our business is essential, so we still go back and forth from the office a little bit. But the only thing it's bugging me right now is I got a new grandbaby. It's 7 weeks old, and she literally lives 6 houses down the street. And because up until matter of fact, she gets her 8 week shots next week, and then her other grandparents are doctors, pediatricians. So they said after she gets her shot. So that's the only thing that's been a little bit. We've been spending a lot of time down at the ranch down in Stephenville, which is about an hour and a half north from us. That's where we spent most of our time.
Nice. So you're not able to see the grandbaby at all.
No, we see her. She's in the living room right now, but it's just holding her, right? So
Oh,
we get to
gotcha.
see her, and if we're at the ranch, they FaceTime us, and so yeah, we're getting time to see her. Had her smiling at me this morning, so that was a great thing.
Excellent, excellent,
Yeah.
man. Awesome. Well, good to hear everything's good on that arena. So help us understand. You got Restoration One, you got Blue Frog, and anything. I know you got an FSO on the side that's got some great brands as well. Help us understand how things have been impacted on any of the brands.
Sure, sure. Well, Restoration One and Blue Frog Plumbing and Drain that's my full-time gig. That's what I do as the CEO of those companies. I office in there and I run those. That's where I spend my time. We have been, and it's a little hard sometimes when we talk about because we're essential businesses, so our guys are still operating. And I know there's a lot of people that's not. And so, it's just I hate to get out there. I don't want to get out there and really, hey, yeah, we're doing it. But our business doesn't change. I mean, if you woke up this morning, stepped out of bed, and you stepped in 2 feet of water, you have to call us, right? And insurance is going to pay for it, so it's not like something you guys say, "Well, I don't have the money right now." If you find mold, if you had a fire, I had a guy that buddy of mine who is a game warden here in town called me last weekend, 2 weekends ago, said, "Hey, my cousin's house just burnt, kitchen fire." So we were out there the next day. So same thing with plumbing, even maybe even more so. So the businesses are still operating. In addition to that, on the restoration side, we're doing a lot of disinfecting work.
Mm.
So matter of fact, we just roll out a new program on Monday that will be kind of another vertical in our business. That because I think it's going to be something even down the road. People are going to want businesses or even homes, disinfected before they sell them or before they move in. So that's been another piece. So as far as business goes and everything, I mean, we've kind of tracked along as we usually do.
So hold up. I'm hearing you say you pivoted, as we're using that term so often. Restoration One had a little bit of a disinfectant business, but now you're really making it a significant part, and you think that's gonna press forward into the future as a significant part of the overall business?
I don't think it'll be a significant part. I think it'll just be another good vertical. I mean, today you do what we do: water, fire, mold. It'll be water. We really do water, fire, mold, and bio. So this is rolled up under bio, and so because of that, we've gotten so much, be it national accounts or individual people that are calling their local restoration company. I see that. I think my point is that people are now they've got that in their head. It's going to happen more and more. So it's just going to be another vertical for our franchisees, but certainly not the brunt of it. I mean, brunt of our business is water damage.
Ah, got it. Okay. So the franchisee's doing fairly good. You don't want to brag about it, but we get it. That's a business that's needed day in, day out, regardless. Have you, the franchisor, have y'all changed the way you're communicating, the way you're supporting, any revenue changes? What's happening on that side?
Yeah, I mean, most of my staff is remote. My operations staff, they're all remote. They're around the country. My development staff, those guys are remote as well. I only have, I think I told you earlier, maybe 8 to 10 people in our headquarters. Um, and when you have a headquarters like that, the only time you ever have people coming in is for training. So really I mean, as far as how we deal with our ops staff, how we deal with our development staff, that's all the same. I don't have face-to-face meetings very much. My VP of operations lives 8 doors down, so it's easy to, if I need to get together. And so, I mean, that piece of it, we're certainly using technology more today than I've ever used. I think this is my third or fourth Zoom call this week, and probably before this, I've had, you know, 6 Zoom calls in my last year. So that's starting to be a big thing the way we do business, and but the effects of it all the way around, we it just kind of day to day for us. It has not really changed, and I like to meet with people, but we're also a company that where it's just my style. We're not sitting in meetings all day long every day. I'm not helping my franchisees by sitting in meetings to talk about what we need to do. So we just do it. And I hire people that know what they're doing. So I don't need to micromanage anyone on the development side or on the operations side. So that's kind of, that's my philosophy and how we work today.
Well, Gary, I was just reminded in my head here, the your nickname. Is it the Redneck CEO?
Redneck CEO. Yeah. Yeah.
I'll take the redhead CEO. How about
Redhead,
that? You
redhead
do.
redneck CEO. Yeah, that comes from, I tell people that I grew up in the country. I had 24 people in my graduating class. I married one of them, still here 38 years later. But, I grew up, running hay balers and plows and doing fields, building fences and hauling hay. And, always had a horse, always had a cow. And so that's kind of it's been my culture, it's my mentality, and my mentality of it, where I think it's got me to where I am today, is just that drive, work hard, common sense, loyalty, which is really big in a small town like that. Of course, I was related to somebody on every street, so that helped a little bit, right? But for me, it was just the way that I learned and learned how to treat people. So that's been kind of my mantra. And I actually have finished a book called The Redneck CEO, but we just kind of been holding off on putting the last touches on it to put it out until kind of some of the stuff's going on. So,
Put me on the list, brother. Looking forward to
will do,
seeing that one.
will
Um,
do.
Help us understand. You've got a organization around the country. How big are each of those brands?
So we have about 250, 260 restoration ones, and about 21 Blue Frog. We've had that company about 2.5 years. Um, and interesting enough, Blue Frog has really, really picked up in the last, 30 to 60 days. I think we'll do, 4 sales this month for Blue Frog, and the quality of people is really blowing my mind. And that's what we find. That's what, I was in development in 2008. So, I'm seeing a little bit of that now. You probably in your business as well. People have a lot of time on their hands. They're at home. They're on a computer. And I'll tell you what they're thinking about is that, hey, this is put me out of work temporarily, or, I was in a factory. I don't have a job. I don't want to be in this position anymore. So I want to do something that I can control myself. And our business, not only is it both of them essential businesses, but they have the qualities that I said when I got into my 50s. I've been doing this 30 years. I said, this is what I would look for in a business today: low overhead, low margins, uh, lo- uh, no recession resistant as much as possible, and no brick and mortar, and even a little bit of that. You have less staff, so it's going to fall in line with your overhead, but you don't have to have a lot of employees. But and that's rang true based on what we're doing today. So that's a big piece to me.
So let's go deeper on that. Franchise development.
Yep.
Uh, the folks that have closed were obviously in the pipeline already. So your pipeline of folks before this COVID issue hit have moved forward to close. Have you seen any other changes with the folks that were in there? You got some on pause until it gets a little more clear, or are they all moving forward?
Anything that we have on pause is not necessarily on pause saying, hey, uh, I'm going to wait to see what happens if I'm going to do this. They're on pause due to typically financing because the banks are bombarded by the SBA. So we have a lot of people do rollovers and they do SBA, and so that the process has just slowed down. Even you and I've seen that our great friends over at Fran Fund, they're bombarded with a lot of other things, and so this is that's the only thing I've really seen slow down. I don't know that I recall anyone saying, not going to do it right now. I
Yeah.
want to move forward. Just let contracts in hand, ready to sign. Just let me get my money.
All right. So what about the new pipeline? Folks
Yeah.
coming in, how has the volume been and the volume and quality of new pipeline for the two brands on FranDev?
Quality, and I started to say that earlier. It's amazing the quality of franchisees we get. You would think, I think you and I talked about lunch one day. I do not have the sexiest business around. When I sold health clubs for years, that's sexy. People like to go home and tell their neighbor, we just bought a health club. Nobody wants to go home and say, hey, we're in the restoration business, or we're a plumber. So the kind of people we have gotten have come out of corporate America. They are, um, they are the kind of people that want to build an organization. So they're not the man in the van or the chuck in the truck. They're really people that want to build an organization. So they've done that either with a company or a business of their own, earlier. So that the quality's always been good. I haven't seen that change at all. Lead flow, probably right now has picked up a little bit because especially on the all of your website stuff, social media, it goes back to what I said earlier. Now, whether or not that is going to be uh, quality, over time, we don't know, because that could very well just be people sitting there going, hey, yep, this looks good, this looks good, this looks good, right? But anything we get that's coming from a development company is going to be good stuff.
Nice. Well, I have been hearing that for the most part, quality seems to be a bit better as you got folks coming in the pipeline that aren't so afraid.
Yeah.
If they're moving forward, now there may be some looky-loos like we always get, but
Right.
the overall risk tolerance seems to be lower because if
Mhm.
they're moving through a pipeline process, the discovery right now, they tend to have a little more strength of overcoming that
Yeah.
fear.
They don't mind jumping out there. So they're
Now,
kind of a little more courageous about stepping out.
courageous. There you go. All right.
Yeah.
So what about, I would think, especially on the plumbing side, you can tell me better, you get many conversions, especially at this time when there's no better time to be in franchising with the support of a franchisor when tough times is so much more critical. You seeing more conversion interest?
Great question. Some of my competitors have built their businesses on conversions, and we've really stayed out of everything we've done to date has been non-conversion. We actually hired a person that's a lead developer person that's all they do now. They're going for conversions now. Plumbing, we'll see a little bit more of it, I think, than we'll see restoration right now. We've had a few conversions there, but we're actively now searching it for that reason. I mean, people are, if you are an independent, the downside of that is that, in a situation like this, you're a little bit out there on your own. You're out on a boat, and sometimes you don't know which way to go. And one of the things, like with Restoration One, having access to national accounts that we have, in addition to just building their business, we have built our business on boots on the street. We don't want all of our eggs in one basket, so we use salespeople. We get out there and we work with the first responders, and we don't sit around waiting on insurance work. Our work's all done by insurance, but having a national account, something like that, that's just not been our model. But we have turned very strongly in the last 30 days, actually, and not because of this. We were doing it before this came up. we think this is to your point, a great place to be part of a team, be part of somebody that can bring some other things to you, national recognition, and build a business that down the road you leave it with your kids, sell it, whatever you want to do, because your value is always higher, as you know, with a franchise. So that is something that we see a great future in, and be conversions for both brands.
Nice. Okay, Gary. So, what about, let's say you're most intimate with those two brands, but you've got some other brands in your franchise sales organization run by our good friend Todd Bigham.
Yep.
What are you seeing over there? Anything different than what you're experiencing with those two?
A little bit like, we have Todd, and Todd runs that company, his development company that has currently has the driveway company, which does some driveway, basically more cracks and things like that. It's not resurfacing. Shine Window, they do holiday lighting, power washing, that based out of Austin. Accelerated Waste, which is junk shot, which is it's junk removal, and then they have a doorstep valet for business like apartments and things. Those businesses, it depends on which one it is, because you do see a little bit with those are service based also. They don't have brick and mortar that they have to deal with. They don't have a lot of staff that to deal with. But that's where I've seen some people say from a development side, well, I think we'll hold off, because you're not necessarily seeing those services. But all that means is that services have dropped off some. But the fact of the matter is that people, you would think it's a little odd that, most people would say, well, I'm not going to spend money right now. They're still having that stuff done. I guess one of the things is when you're sitting at home, you're sitting there, you look up and go, man, my windows are filthy. And, so you think about that, and you do a little, improvements around the house. So it's dropped off a little bit, lead development on that side. We're still seeing, again, because they fit that same model I told you earlier about that low investment, no brick and mortar. So lead flow and a couple of those have been stronger. So it's kind of, I don't know. I would say 70% is still rocking along strong. 30% you're just seeing a bit of a dip, but people are they're looking now and they want to get out of this, and they're ready to be going. Those businesses are going to be they're going to be ready, set to take off a lot quicker. They're not going to need to, build the fire to get the business back up and going. I mean, it's going to be the same thing. Hey, I need my driveway, I need my windows, whatever it may be.
Yeah, I believe it. I was
Yep.
talking to a junk removal franchisor the other day, and they said this is their franchisees are having the biggest month ever
I believe it.
because everybody's at home, to your point, and it ain't the windows. It's, oh my gosh, let's clean out the garage.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're putting everything out of the street and then getting it picked up that way, and still having the whole distance issue handled. So it's amazing what businesses can thrive that you would have never really thought about
Mm-hmm.
in this situation that are experiencing some nice growth. So, Gary, what about, you got a lot of franchisees out there? Any particular stories that folks would find interesting? I like to call them stories of triumph, but somebody doing something different, something unique, something that's really catching fire for them beyond just the disinfecting topic.
I would say probably my biggest one would be Lance Ray. Lance Ray's in just in Colorado Springs, Colorado. He is a true, entrepreneur. The guy has, and he left, and I don't know how many years back that's been, but he left. I think it's I think it's Wyoming, and moved to Colorado. Packed up his car, didn't have a job, didn't know what he was going to do. Moved to Wyoming and got into the construction business. And from there, he's built in the last, I don't know, let's say 8 to 10 years, he's built a great construction company. And from that's when he came to us. So he bought a restoration company, bought Restoration One, and everything you could possibly do right with Restoration One, he's done. He knows how to market. He knows how to build. He knows how to follow the system, right? That we talk about all the time. Then he said that he says, "Well, look, okay, it just makes sense for me to have a Blue Frog." So bought a Blue Frog Plumbing and Drain. I mean, if we had five different verticals we could put him in, he would go in all of them and do well in all of them. And so he's built a business. A couple of things that he and his wife were. A couple of the people that were in Las Vegas down at that concert during the shooting. and that has, you have no, it has to affect you some, right? But they have really, pulled themselves out of it, and they've had stronger years since that's happened. Now, I say him again because when this started, when we started having this, he's one of the first ones. I mean, I got like that weekend, he sent me a video. He went down to his sister-in-law. She had a franchise massage center, and he showed his guys in there with suits on, wrapped up gloves, mask, disinfecting, fogging, and he said, so he did that. Next thing you know, from that, the TV station picks him up, right? And so he went and he says, okay, I'm going to build a disinfecting business now. He has built a flood house, indoor flood house in his building to train employees on what to do, during flood work. It just, he's built an amazing business, and he is, like I say, that true entrepreneur that never sits still. And he, I guess probably a little bit like, maybe he's a lot like me. He's not, neither one of us are exactly what you'd say polished. We're not going to come in here with our ties and our, jackets on, but we know how to work. And that's him. He knows how to work. And so, yeah, he would be, I mean, when you say that success story, boom, I don't think about it. He's the one.
Poster child.
Poster
Yeah.
child. But we have some great military guys too that have really overcome. We got a CIA guy who's a CIA agent that has done really well. So, but that success story that's done something different.
Well, Gary, so as we wrap up, with your vast experience coming through the highs and the lows, a lot of franchisors out there trying to navigate these new waters. Any additional advice, guidance, maybe even predictions you care to share?
Okay, here's what I'll take my prediction. I did a podcast, I think a few weeks ago for somebody, and we talked about this, and I said, here's what I know to be true. I'm 58. Here's what I know to be true. And that is that this isn't you're not going to see the flag flying behind me and, Star Spangled Banner start playing, but we're truly one of the greatest countries in the world. And we know how to come back, and we typically come back better than ever. So we know how to pick our bootstraps up and make things happen. Business owners you have today, that's what they're going to do. We're seeing everybody come together. It's amazing some of the things I've seen. I saw one of the companies yesterday that got to PPP, and got it. It seemed like it's $10 million. They gave it back, right? That's just amazing. And that's what we're going to see, much like franchising. One of the reasons you and I have been in franchise so long, it's an organization like the great organization with the IFA that helps us so much. They go out and they fight for us. They do that, but we're a tight knit group. We're big, but then we're not big. So everybody works really hard. So that's my biggest prediction as far as, and I think we'll see it. We'll pull back out. We'll be stronger than ever, and we'll learn some stuff by it. Right? We'll learn how to be more effective and how to operate a little more efficiently and those kind of things. But at the end of the day, I think we'll see it. And from a franchisor standpoint, work with your franchisee, work with your franchisor. That's the jobs of them. I've talked to several of my franchisors that they're spending their days thinking, how can we help our franchisees? Whatever way that may look like. And some of it's just like anything, it's just support. And that support could be calling and checking on them. So, I'd say follow your franchisor. And the franchisors, man, guys, keep doing what you have continue to do to make you successful. You just have to change it a little bit. You have to change directions.
Hey man, our rallying cry around here at IFPG, no Zor left behind. Everybody's full on, working overtime just to make sure we're supporting through things like this, getting the word out, best practices. How can we help? I mean, heck, you heard it at the beginning. The new title is Franchising Stronger Together, and that's what you're giving back, sharing best practices. Heck, your competition is going to hear this and probably get something great out of it. So, man, you talked about your book. This video is going to be online for a good while. So when somebody in a month, 5 months sees this video, where can they get the Redneck CEO book?
First, we're just going to start off Restoration One, www.restoration1.com. But we also have the domain redneckceo.com. So that will be the easiest place to go to.
Yep. Love it. Gary Findley, CEO, founder of a whole bunch of brands and leader in so many ways in franchising. Most importantly, a great leader and friend. And as we just heard, Grandpa. Gary, thank you so much for being on the call today.
Hey, thanks, Red. Always
Yes,
enjoy
sir.
it. Thank you.
Absolutely. See you on the road soon, my friend.